up, everybody? I'm back again this week, and it's time for another movie review. This week, I'm going to be talking about Insidious, The Last Key, or Insidious Chapter 4, or Insidious 4, whatever you want to call it. The fourth one in the movie franchise, which I believe is the last one. I'm just going to jump right into it. So this movie actually takes place after the third, before the first one, and you find out about that while watching the film, because they do things to kind of connect everything, almost like a little perfect puzzle. It's basically exploring more of Elise's character in this film. They've done a lot more backstory for her. They started out when she was a child, whereas in the third one they kind of showed where she was like a young adult. Now they're exploring her childhood and how she became who she was, and like how everything happened to her in the past. And we find out that the current house she's living in is not actually the one that's being haunted. It was the one that she grew up in as a child that she has to go back to. The movie starts off already generally creepy because you hear like whispers and, you know, the darkened tone and with the visuals. And they explored more of the further. You got to be able to see more of what happened in there, kind of who was in charge, more or less, of this place. Now, I went to go and see this movie with Ryan, with his cousin and my mother. And there's one part in the movie where if my mother had not screamed bloody murder, I would not have jumped, but because she was immediately beside me and screamed in my ear, it was loud and shocking, so I jumped at that part. But there were some good jump scares. I mean, some were better than others, as most movies are. It's very rare to find a horror movie that will have really good jump scares through and through. But this one had a good mixture. It had, you know, the fake out ones where it's like you think something's going to happen and nothing does. It had the ones where you should have jumped but didn't. And then the ones where you did jump because you had to. The storyline could have been a little better. It kind of treaded off the path a little bit, found its way back, and then kind of like near the end threw a bunch of information at you to kind of connect all the stories. So it was kind of almost like a cop-out in a way. So a little disappointed with that, but overall it was pretty good. Again, though, with the humor. Like the first Insidious and the second Insidious, it had its little bits here and there of the comedy and the jokes and whatnot with Elise's sidekicks because they're so awkward and whatnot. But in this one, it was like, again, someone prying your mouth open, jamming these jokes down your throat. And it's like, I don't want that. Stop. This is a scary movie, or it's supposed to be. Why are you throwing all this forced humor at me? I don't want that in a horror movie, especially if they're not good jokes. Like, it's very bad comedy that they're trying to put into this, and it's not good. It's not good. So with the trailers, they showed many scenes that actually were not in the movie at all, which I was very disappointed about because there were parts in the movie where it was kind of leading up to where I thought this scene would have been, and it wasn't. Are they going to release an extended cut? Because the past 3 movies, they've never had an extended version of the movies. So would they release one for this one? Because of all the stuff that they cut out? In a way, I'm hoping so, but at the same time, it's not keeping up the continuity of the past 3 films not having an extended cut and then you giving an extended cut to the 4th. Now I am going to go into spoilers because I'm going to talk about kind of what scenes they cut out, and I'm going to talk about some stuff that happened in the movie, and then it's going to be very short, and then we'll get back just for the overall review, and yeah, So if you don't want any spoilers, be sure to go until you see the spoiler-free zone, and then it is safe to start watching again. Or just put me on mute until you see the spoiler-free zone, so it's okay. So now you have been warned, we are now entering the spoiler zone. So some of the scenes that were cut out from the movie that were in the trailer was when, I can't remember if it was Imogen or if it's Elise, and they were backing up to some coats, and then in the sleeve of the coat you see the hand with all the keys on it come out. That was not in the movie. Elise, like, about to, like, touch the person's face, that was in the movie, but then when they showed in the trailer that the keymaster person with the long hair and the face was immediately behind her, and then she lifted off the ground, the guy was never behind her. It was actually the person that she was about to touch, and she never lifted off of the ground. And another scene that was cut was when they were in the further and they open a door and you see down a hallway of, like, it looks like cells, like a jail cell or just doors or something. You saw this one person who was bald, and she kind of looks and she's like, this way. That person was not in the movie at all. Like, not even a small role, like, to, like, walk by and she's just staring at you. Not even that. She was not in this movie, period. So why include these scenes into your trailer if you're not going to have them in your movie? Near the end, there was an attempted redemption arc with the father because of the fact that he was an abusive father as a child to Elise, and then when Elise is about to get attacked by this keymaster thing, he goes and stops it, but then dies. So there was the attempted redemption. She finds out that it was the keymaster that was kind of controlling him the entire time, but he dies, so whatever. And then the big boss battle between Elise and the keymaster was actually, oh my god, I stopped fucking itching. The big boss battle between Elise and the keymaster was actually a bit of a letdown because Elise was just helpless on the ground and she grabbed a whistle and blew it, and then all of a sudden her mother's ghost comes in and just, like, hits the keymaster with a lantern and he goes flying, and that's it. That was the battle. Cool. Great build-up. The escape from the further seemed too easy, especially with how many spirits and ghosts and demons there are in the further. I would have expected there to be people chasing after them, A, trying to get out with them, or B, trying to stop them from escaping and then taking their place. But that didn't happen. It was just Imogen and Elise just leaving. The connection to the first film was a little iffy as well, because in the first one, when Dalton falls off the ladder, he stares into just pitch darkness in the attic and then screams, and then that's it. In this film, you see Elise open up a door and she sees Dalton fall and then stare at her, and she's holding a lantern that's shining the way. So, here's my problem. Why is it that she's able to see him in the future before anything happens? One. Second thing I'm having issue is she's the cause of everything, because she left the door open as a child to let this keymaster in and fuck everyone's shit up. And then she left the door open to let the red-faced demon in to take control of Dalton. So she's a bitch. Close your goddamn doors. And 3, if Elise was holding a lantern, shining it through the doorway at Dalton, why was he only able to see darkness in the first film? I don't think the directors or the producers thought of the connection they were trying to make thoroughly before actually making the connection. Unless there's some hidden meaning behind why she can see him and he can't see her, then they need to delve into that a little bit more and explain that whole concept, because that just leaves viewers confused. But now we are entering the spoiler-free zone. Hello? You can unmute me. Unmute me. Okay, good. Welcome back. So now we're going to talk about just the overview of the whole movie, and then I'll give you my rating. So as I said, the jump scares were okay. They could have been delivered better. Some were better than others, but overall they were okay. This movie needed a lot less comedy than it gave, because it is supposed to be a horror movie, not a comedy movie. The plot was okay. It could have been fleshed out and explored a little more, especially with the last thing that I said during the spoilers, like how that happened, I don't know. But otherwise, it was a nice, easy story to follow. You were able to understand where everyone was kind of coming from and what they were doing and how things kind of worked with each other. Unlike Star Wars, which had 6 storylines in it, and then, yeah, just the connection with the whole series, how they connected it all together was just a little confusing. Overall, I would give this movie about a 6 out of 10, which is it's about a C-. As I said, yeah, it could have been done better. The first one and the second one were by far my favorites. If you want an okay horror movie that you can go into and kind of relax in, go watch this one. I hope you enjoyed my review. It was fun reviewing with you, and I will see you next week. Don't forget to like this video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Check out last week's movie review for Pitch Perfect. Check out my playlist of movie reviews as well. And make sure that you share this video with everyone that you know. And I will see you next week with a fun video, because I'm going to take a little break from the movie reviews. So I'll see you next time. Enjoy your movie watching. Bye!